ridiculously high.
Pat Bev finna go in on this LeBron James doggone supporter. I can't explain.
Cannot explain how they get blown out on their home court in this situation. That one I'm going to have to do some investigation on. I don't have an answer for you.
Whoa. Go, Pat Bev, go. Hey, now, you can't follow this team the whole year and say how great of a team, how focused they are, and then get on here in front of all these people that's watching right now and tell me that you don't have anything to say now. I mean, you just can't do that.
So what is it we should be saying? Tell me what we should be saying. Did they look tight last night? Did they choke? I'm trying to make sure I understand what you're
saying. I don't think it was a tightness. I don't think it was a choke. They played a really good team.
Yeah.
And a really good player. And lost. Simple as that.
Right, but all through the season, I mean, they had the best record in the NBA, right?
Bev. They lost by 50.
And that's the thing when you guys are up here discussing basketball. Preseason is a monster. Regular season is a monster. Playoff is another monster. Elimination games are a whole nother monster. So you can't take what you see regular season and apply. Of course, no one has the time to scout for it back-to-back against Phoenix. They run their offense. The referees know what's going on.
Yeah.
They'll get in the bonus all the time. They go call little petty fouls during the season. But the playoffs, now you got to really lace them up. You have to guard. You have to go over. You have to make plays. No one in the Phoenix Suns got in the paint. Name me one player who got in the paint and just kicked out. No one. They can't get past their players. Booker's getting in there to get his own money. So, I mean, come on, B, you got to give me something better than that, baby. You can't give me something better than that. I don't know.
Go ahead, Brian.
Bev, he goes 14 of 14 in a closeout elimination game like 2 weeks ago.
A play-in.
They were
right,
Bev. They
exactly.
were not. That's a good team. That's a good team. Look, again, and if you want to say that that's why they lose the series, I'm going to agree with you. But to score 27 points on your home court in a Game 7 for a team that won 64 games, Bev, I've never seen it. I've never seen it, man. And I got to say,
like, you just see they had trouble scoring the game before.
They really did. But can I ask you about another thing here? I'm just going to stay with this for a minute here, guys, and we'll get to Boston whenever we get to Boston. But
and people are not noticing that he had trouble scoring the game before. Now you got to look at the Phoenix Suns and say, how in the hell did they choke this? They were up 2-0. Then they were up 3-2. That means the Mavs had to win the last 2 games. Chris Paul really didn't look good in the first game, but in the second game he exploded. Now, Booker cannot get you 11 points and Chris Paul can't get you 10. That can't happen. There was no sense of urgency. And it might be some stuff to come out later. But the thing is, who's at blame here? Is it Chris Paul? Is it whoever, right? The way I saw this game breaking down, it was clearly Chris Paul, who is the leader. I told people he should come off the bench. He was not productive. He wasn't helpful. It's like he shut down. And 4 straight games, he did it just like that in the NBA Finals. Now, everybody's going to say, oh, what they needed to get to the top. Going forward, Chris Paul cannot be your go-to guy. He can't be the point guard that you expect him to be. In the end of the day, Pat Bev is right. And this is what I like. If you want to know what's going on in basketball, put somebody in the game that's playing actively on that panel. Somebody that don't have an agenda, like Bryant Warthog, who just got exposed. You can't do that. You can't come up here and say, because it don't go your way. You can't come up here and say, I don't know what happened. You can't do that. You followed this team all year. Why can't you just say what happened is the Dallas Mavericks outplayed them? They made the adjustments. The Suns did not make an adjustment. See? I just said it. So it ain't that hard. It ain't that hard. We all know they don't take away from people's greatness. It's just like he said, the playoffs are a whole nother monster. And this is a game 7 in the playoffs. That's even more intense. The refs don't want to be involved in what determines the game. They're going to be real careful on who they're calling fouls on. They do not want to be the ones that people are looking at the end of this game. But it was like the Phoenix Suns was in a deer in headlights. They dropped the goose egg in Game 7 against the Milwaukee Bucks. So why is people shocked? Pat Bev told them the truth. Pat Bev.
First off, I know I'm gonna get a lot for this, but I don't really care. They benched the wrong person. Should have benched Chris. And I'm not saying bench him now. Once you see they starting attacking Chris early, and that might become a problem later on, you need to see how my team works without Chris in the game a little bit. I got benched. We won though. Right. So you don't even remember that. Right. Okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? So as a coach, you have to understand that, man, I have to understand they're attacking my main guy. If I can't get buckets from him, I have to make an adjustment, whatever that adjustment is. And that's no fault against Monty. He's a great coach of the year. But T. Lue, if T. Lue's there, he's making that decision. It's a hard decision, but he's making it.
He's benching Chris Paul in Game 7.
Not benching him, but spurts here. We got to see something else. I mean, apparently it didn't work.
Acknowledging that it has become a problem, and despite his stature, I'm just making sure I'm understanding, despite his stature in the game.
Coach the game, not the player.
Coach the game, not the player. What do you think of that, JJ?
I think there's some validity to that, and I'll say because of the way they were playing Devin Booker, basically blitzing everything, whether that was the backside action on the dribble handoff, whether that was the step-up pick and rolls. They always had 2 on the ball with him. If CP is unwilling to shoot, unwilling to be aggressive, I agree with that. Here's a lost opportunity to me. James Johnson, for the last 2 trade deadlines, has preached continuity. I think they had an opportunity this year to go out and get a 3rd shot creator. Eric Gordon was available in Houston. I know the Phoenix Suns fans wanted Eric Gordon to be there. That, to me, changes the complexity of this team because you do need someone who's able to attack. I'm not saying they could have got Jordan Clarkson, but someone like that. And Eric Gordon is one of those guys. You needed that 3rd shot creator.
And there we go. Now the Celtics are being called the title favorites and all that now to win the championship. The Boston Celtics are coming back to glory. And Pat Bear once again is like, how y'all gonna do that? Miami is the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. They're the only one still proving that they're number 1. But yet, here we go again, counting out what's already there. Jesus Christ. How do we get to this point, people? What are we doing? Are we really this bad? How do we get here? I can't call it no more. I really can't. This is insane. So, the Dallas Mavericks the Golden State Warriors, the Boston Celtics, and the Miami Heat are all that's left. And the Celtics are the favorite to win the championship? Why? Have they been more dominant than Miami and the playoffs? No, they haven't. And you might say, oh, they had the tougher road. They had to play the Brooklyn Nets, and now they had to play and just beat the defending champ Milwaukee Bucks. Miami Heat didn't have that hard road. Boston, man, this is it. Even if Boston goes to the finals, let's say they go to the finals, against Golden State or against Dallas, I really think, how many game winners do Luka have on them? His whole game winning highlight reel is against Boston. He loved cooking them. So my thing is this. It's a different Boston team now. But it's just like JJ said. Jason Kidd is a point guard, ladies and gentlemen. He understands the role of a point guard. If you're not a point guard, do not, I repeat, do not try to go ahead and outmatch him or question his basketball IQ when he's making a play or designing one. Pat Bev gave you everything uncut. And that's what people are going to say is because he don't like Chris Paul. Was he telling the truth? Should Chris Paul been benched? 100% accurate. He should have been coming off of the bench. Cameron Payne should have been playing a lot more than what he was. And it was evident in the game. You could see the flow of it was off. Chris was unengaged. He was slow with the ball, methodical. Those beautiful cut lanes weren't there. And they looked average. And by jumping on them early, it put a lot of pressure on Phoenix. Luka got cooking early, and boy, was he cooking. He couldn't miss. So, I don't know what to tell you except for I agree with Pat Bev. Pat Bev was right. And that's about all I can say. And we'll get to more of this on the Suns breakdown just a little bit later as we go through the scenes. But, and break it down. But for him to say, I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what happened. You know what happened. I just can't, I don't understand. It's very easy to understand. It's called adjustments. It's called basketball. But since you follow only LeBron James and you're a LeBron James plant, you wouldn't understand. So now we're getting somewhere. This is why you was only covering high school basketball. Now, as I take my exit, I want to say thank everybody for the super chats, the cash apps. Everybody know my cash app is Carcino, says it on the banner. Thank you for hitting the like button, supporting the page by subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. I'm out.